company Solar States is teaming up with the Philadelphia School District to help prepare students for careers using solar energy.
Solar States flipped the switch of the largest solar panel array in Philadelphia. Welcome back to another episode of Yo, Son! Hey, welcome back to another episode of Yo, Son! I'm your host, Micah Goldmarkel, here with
Jared Pashko. We got a special show today, Micah. I'm very excited.
Oh yeah, this is the Yo Son MythBusters edition. What?
You heard it here first. We are going to be breaking myths and telling you straight truth about all the questions you got in solar. I'm excited for this one. You know, I was a little worried at first when the concept came up, but then I saw some of these myths that are out there, and I thought to myself, this could be fun.
I'm trying not to curse on this podcast, but there is so much dumb Ishtar out there about solar that we just had to come on and set the record straight a little bit. And in order to set the record straight fully, we had to come up with some pretty corny sound folly stuff. So we're going to have my man Bill in the background throwing us some great sound effects and various things going on. We're going to try it out, see how it goes, and hopefully we'll have some fun with this episode. All right, so let's start off. Bill, can you cue us up with the first myth?
I can't install solar on my flat rooftop. I can't install solar on my flat rooftop.
This is the digital MythBusters version.
Yeah.
I don't know what that voice sounds like, but it's like something pretty monotone straight away there. But anyhow,
no, I love it. Yeah.
The myth is that you can't install solar on a flat rooftop. Point blank, we wouldn't be in business if that was true. We install solar on row homes everywhere. Flat roofs are great for solar. You can do ballast weight or attachments. There's not a flat roof that you can't install solar on, basically.
I feel like a lot of times people think flat roofs are bad for solar because they're not facing the sun. That's not how it works. You know, most of the year, the sun is in the sky. The thing that I think a lot of people forget about flat roofs is usually they're in cities and there aren't a whole bunch of trees around.
That's right. That's right. And you know what? It's the city thing too is I think a lot of installers don't really go into cities to do work. And that's a bit of a shame. We're located right here in Philly. We've got to do flat roofs because that's really most of the housing stock. So,
well, and I think that's another big part of it, right? Is a way to establish that they're professionals rather than saying, oh, we don't do flat roofs. A lot of installers say
point.
You can't install on a flat roof. That way they still seem like the expert. They say, but I could sell you a battery system but I could sell you some third-party energy at an increased rate.
All right, let's get monotone myth number 2.
Solar panels are a fire risk.
Oh boy, here we go. Man, the industry. I hear this a lot. What, you want to start off on this one, Jared?
Well, I mean, I think that this is just a vestige of past, you know? I mean, there were some fires 25 years ago. That's a long time ago, you know? I don't know last time you were worried about your computer crashing because there's only 2 digits in the year, but, you know, Y2K has come and gone. So,
yeah.
No fires, no Y2K.
Yeah. I mean, I think the fire thing, you're right. You know, it was maybe an issue for a small moment. It's extremely rare. It's really, really hard to believe there will be solar fires now that we have all of this monitoring that we're capable of doing through what's called module level power electronics, or each solar panel can be turned off individually. So really,
and automatically, fire, right?
And automatically, right?
Right. So you don't have to do anything. If it senses any concern, it's turning it off automatically on the roof,
right,
panel by panel. And by the way, here's another thing. This is something you got to get a quality installer. Ask somebody how many solar arrays they've installed. You know, you want somebody that's doing electrical work at your house, right?
Ask them if they have any NABCEP certified employees. Ask them how long they've been doing this. All of that will weigh into the quote fire risk. Although, like I said, if you even do it remotely right, there's a very low fire risk here. All right, Bill, next monotone myth.
Let's hit it.
The government will give me free solar panels.
Oh my gosh, I will shoot myself the next time I hear that. I get that in my feed of every single
Yeah, I was just
social
gonna say,
media
next time
thing.
you hear that,
I'm
it's
gonna
like,
I'm gonna shoot
we're gonna have
myself
to go to
soon,
your
I think.
funeral tomorrow.
I
Please
know.
don't do that.
I hate this. This is the
Cannot
biggest
stand it.
thing. Oh man, that we have to
Recently, my
overcome.
dad sent me one of these myths and said, "Look at this
Oh yeah.
great program." I was like, "Oh yeah,
I
good
get
one."
I get everybody and their mother like, "Is this true? Can you get solar free from the government?" And it's like, "No,
No.
no, no, no. That is a myth." Are there government incentives? Absolutely there are. There's a 30% federal tax credit. There's all sorts of things that can make solar a really great deal for you. But anybody who tells you that you're getting free panels from the government is straight out lying to you. Now, can you have a zero down solar system? Of course you can. We offer lots of loans where you could go zero down or get very inexpensive solar. Of course, that's an option. But the government ain't giving solar away. No way, no how.
And you know what I think is a good way to kind of fact check some of these false and erroneous posts out there when they're talking about solar arrays, but they're showing pictures of battery systems, or they're talking about solar arrays, but they're showing pictures of electric panels. That's when my head starts scratching. I start thinking to myself, "Oh, maybe they're not telling the full truth."
Totally, totally. All right, let's get the next monotone myth.
You can't recycle solar panels.
Now this is an interesting one
It's a
because
new one.
it's a new one, and truth be told, we have to do a better job here. But it is in fact false. There are a number, and in fact, at last year's RE Plus, I met with a few solar panel recycling outfits, and we have in fact recycled solar panels. Unfortunately, the solar panel recycling business, as it exists now, is small. It needs to get larger, but I think as the industry gets larger, it will. And usually there's a cost involved with recycling them. So those are two things that are out there, but it is false. Solar panels are highly recyclable. They're made up of glass, aluminum, and silicon. Uh, all of that is highly recyclable.
And also, I will just add, having products that last 25 years is a great way to cut down
Mhm,
on your carbon footprint, right?
mhm,
So,
mhm.
even if there's some challenges in recycling a product that's 25 years old in terms of the cost and the complexity and the scale, it is recyclable. And if you're recycling it less and less and less,
That's a great point. So true.
yo, Bill, where we at? Let's get the next monotone myth.
My system will not produce on cloudy days.
Oh, that's a good one too. Hear that a lot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I got an interesting take on this. Let me take a stab and tell me what you think, Micah. I think when people hear my system won't produce, there are times of the day and times of the year where your system might not produce. But that does not impact the value that a solar array offers you, due to some great policy and legislation in states like Pennsylvania and New Jersey. We have something called net metering. During the day when the sun is shining, you're not using all of that solar energy and you're actually getting credits for that. Kilowatt hour for kilowatt hour. It's going out into the grid. The utility company is giving you a bank of stored up credit so that when it's a cloudy day, or nighttime, or a really short day in winter, you've got all of that stored up power. You're getting electricity to your house for free because your solar array generated it earlier in the day, earlier in the month, earlier in the year. So you don't have to be worried if there's a cloudy day here or there.
Sure. And funny enough, we did actually a little experiment with this earlier this year. I don't know if people remember, but there was this huge forest fire in Canada and it created this gigantic smoke cloud over the city of Philadelphia. Well, we started thinking, my goodness, is this affecting solar production? Turned out it did, but not as much as we thought. We only saw production going down about 5 to 10%. So that's about as cloudy or as covered as you can ever expect it to get. Heck, if it gets more cloudy than that, we're in big trouble because that I could barely see. So the answer is even in cloudy, covered conditions, solar still produces. All right, Bill, hit us with the next one.
I have to clean the panels to keep them efficient.
Boy, that's a good one. So I'm going to give this one a sort of true, sometimes depending on where you're at. For the Philadelphia area or the northeast of Pennsylvania or even the United States, it rains enough, and if you put the solar panels at a decent tilt, they'll actually self-clean most of the time, unless they're, say in a very high pollen area or areas where there's just tons of debris flying around in the air. But usually they will clean themselves off. But if you're in an Arizona type area or anywhere in the Southwest where it's very dry, doesn't rain that frequently, it probably is a good idea to get them washed off every now and again so that you can maximize production.
Yeah, I think you're right. Now, if you
Great.
were in the middle of the Saharan desert, maybe you need to get your solar panels cleaned every once in a while.
Yes, that's for sure. That's for sure. Well, it seems like we've run out of our pre-canned voice monotone myths. So we're going to go from our own little list here.
All right, let's
So
see what we got here.
another myth that we have here: solar powers your home when the power goes out. Well, again, I'm going to give this a sort of true, sort of not true. Do you want to go into some details here, Jared?
Yeah, I mean, where to begin? I think sometimes people think that if they all solar arrays power your home when the power goes out, and the truth is only solar arrays that have battery systems attached to them power your house when the power goes out. And that's really important, actually. A lot of people think, well, maybe that's because manufacturers are trying to take advantage of people, pressure them into getting batteries. Maybe it's the utility companies still keeping handcuffs on people, trying to make sure that they are the power providers. Really, it's to protect your house. And there's a lot of other things that go into it. But one of the main things is making sure that the solar energy is not surging into your house. That if it's a bright, sunny day and there's a lot of solar energy being produced, it has somewhere to go, somewhere to be stored. And a battery system kind of acts as a giant reservoir to allow solar electricity to flow in when it's sunny and then flow out when you're using your microwave or your dishwasher, and make sure that all of the appliances in your house are playing nice together.
Yeah, great point. Great point. I think the key takeaway here is if you have solar only, then when the grid goes out, you will not have power because you can't risk backfeeding that solar energy onto the grid while a linesman or linesperson is working on it. And they could get zapped. So all grid-tied systems that don't have any storage or what's called an automatic transfer switch turn off automatically when the grid goes out because they're sensing grid voltage. And they come back on automatically when the grid comes back on. So you, the end user, don't have to do anything, but it will turn off. However, if you have some newer systems that include batteries, Enphase does have a system, believe it or not, that even doesn't require batteries, although there's some complexity there as well. But the point is you have to have a system that is capable of isolating your house from the grid, meaning a transfer switch that will isolate your house from the grid so that you can safely use the solar in your house only until the grid comes back on, and then you reconnect.
All right, I got another one here for you, Micah. I couldn't believe this when I saw this. This came from our Facebook page here. Somebody wrote, "How about you stop murder in the streets first?"
What do you think we're doing? What do you think we're doing? I mean, come on, man. This is solar, right? We're stopping murder in the streets all the time, man. No. Funny story real quick. We had a client up the block here who said, I get a leak in my roof every New Year's Day. I was like, really? He opened the drawer to his desk. He puts all these bullets on the table. People shooting bullets in the air. Unbelievable. They come down on his roof. These bullets got to come down somewhere. And we've serviced solar arrays where the panel had a bullet lodged in it. So in some ways, it might have stopped the murder literally, but in figuratively speaking, Listen, solar is about jobs. A lot of people think this is about the environment. It is about that, but not only that. A lot of people think, this is about electrical engineering. It is about that, but not only about that. It's really about jobs for everyone. And our mission at Solar States is to get the green collar economy spread all across Philadelphia to everyone. We want everyone involved. And guess what? Opportunity, earning a good wage is a great way to help stem the wave of violence that we've seen. Is it a long-term solution? Yes, it is. It takes time, but you know what? The best solutions do. And providing people with opportunity is one surefire way to stop crime in our city.
I think we probably have a lot more stories at Solar States that echo that point than we do people with bullets in their solar panels from New Year's Day celebrations. By the way, I'm pretty sure that solar panel was still working after that bullet went
Oh, yeah,
through.
it was. That's a funny thing. Yes, it didn't make it all the way through the solar panel, and 2/3 of the solar panel was still working. It was pretty cool.
You heard it here first, ladies and gents. Solar panels are bulletproof.
And there was no fire. So
There we
that's
go.
kind of a 2-for-1 myth buster,
Yeah,
Trying to get
yeah.
it all here.
All right, let's see what else we got here on this wonderful list. Oh, here's a good one. We didn't talk about this earlier. You will get a check from your utility company if you go solar.
Boy, again, this is sort of a yes and no answer. Most people, if you use up to 100% of your yearly electrical use, you simply net out to what's called zero, right? You use energy at some point during the evenings, but you're burning a credit that you've earned during the day, as Jared explained earlier. You net out to zero. Now, if over the course of a year in Philadelphia, where PICO is our utility, you actually have a credit that can carry over the energy year mark, meaning in May, you can carry a credit over, then it is possible to call PICO and request that. I don't think many people do. Usually people use that credit to offset, say, things like, what are the pieces of the bill again? The customer charge.
Customer charge. Yeah.
There's that
So if you
squirmy
don't,
customer
most
charge.
people, you don't pay anything, but you don't owe anything, but you don't get anything. Some people,
Right.
you don't pay anything, and maybe you get a teeny bit, but not super a lot.
I did have some people who overproduced significantly, but that's becoming less and less true. Usually the best economic investment for solar is just to try to net out to zero or some percentage. Even if you net out, say, 80% of your bill or 60%, you're still saving money, and you're doing a lot of good for the environment and your community.
You know what? This isn't on the list here, Micah, but I think that we should add this. You just reminded me of something. Here's a myth that I hear a lot. If I can't cover 100% of my electric use, I shouldn't go solar.
Great one. Total myth. Total myth. Even if you can't cover 100%, you can still save a significant amount of money, and it can still create jobs in the community. It can still have a great payback economically. So, a lot of people do get wrapped up in, hey, it's not covering 100% of my bill. Well, guess what? There's other things you can do to make it so that it might cover 100%. For example, always looking at the efficiency of your house first and saying, hey, am I as efficient as possible? Do I have LED lights? Am I using Energy Star rated appliances? Do I have, things like mini splits or heat pumps instead of more energy intensive air conditioning units?
Do I punish my kids when they leave the lights on in the bedroom?
Punishment is a great way to reduce energy use. I used to get yelled about that. You left the lights on, man. That's like, and I try to get upset, with my kids about this now. But then I think about how little electricity the LEDs use, and I'm like, you can leave that on for like a month, and it still wouldn't equal what our old incandescents used to use.
Well, I had one customer. He used to complain about how cold his wife liked it in the house.
Oh,
she'd have it down at 50 degrees from April till October.
Don't get me started, man. This could get ugly. But
Yeah. We don't need to be breaking up families in Philadelphia.
yeah,
Myth,
yeah.
solar,
If you need your
solar
house
causes.
no judgment, no judgment. Okay, just try to
Yeah.
be as energy efficient as possible as you can be. And then there's a greater possibility that solar can cover 100% of your bill. But even if it can't, still can be a great deal.
Yeah, I think the thing that sometimes people don't understand is that in order to offset more electricity, you got to install more solar panels. When you install more solar panels, it costs more money. So
Hmm.
even though you're saving more money, you're spending more money. And so the economics of the decision, whether you're offsetting a small amount of electricity and only covering 50% of your electricity, or generating a lot of solar electricity and offsetting all of your electricity, it's pretty much the same. And the only reason why we would install a small solar array is if it was what your budget was or how much roof space you have. You can't just add roof space. That's a
That's for sure.
commodity, especially in a city.
And let me flip this a little bit on its head. It could be possible for you to produce 100% of your usage, but economically not a great move. If you have the money to get really highly efficient solar panels, great. But maybe you're looking for a fast payback or a faster payback. Getting the most efficient panel out there is going to be expensive, and it's not the best bang for your buck. That said, if you're trying to produce as much as you can in a small area, then maybe that's what you want to do. But that's not true for everyone. So yeah, there are a lot of variables there. Again, I think we hit on a sort of, but not really myth.
Yeah. All right. I got another one for you. You got time for one more?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. This one says solar is too expensive.
Oh boy, here we go. This is another one. I could pull a Jared. Yeah, 25 years ago.
Yeah, there we go.
That
Right.
was the case. I'm gonna put my old man hat on. When I first came into this industry, solar cost $6.50 a watt. I mean, that's literally what it did 15 years ago. Now, much cheaper, less than half of that for residential, and commercial. Less than a third of that. So it's really gotten a lot more affordable. That solar energy is too expensive myth is really from a long time ago. Manufacturing has gotten a lot better, and it's just a lot less expensive to go solar than it used to be. In fact, it's so much less expensive that solar is one of the cheapest forms of energy coming online in the United States. It's also one of the largest. Renewables are far outpacing fossil fuels in terms of new energy generation in the United States.
Great point. I want to add something on the flip side of that coin. Let's talk about what it is saving you, because the cost of dirty fossil fuel
So true.
electricity has increased so much over the past 2 years. If you have a utility bill, go back and check out your electric bill from 2 years ago, see what your rate was. In Philadelphia, that rate is almost 40% lower in a matter of 2 years. And so that same solar panel that has now cost less than half that what it did just a couple years ago now also saves you almost twice as much money in what you would otherwise be paying in your utility bill. So, I mean, neither of those things are static forever, which is why now is the best time to go solar. You're going to start saving immediately. You're going to lock in that low cost of the solar equipment. But total myth, right? Solar is not too
Total myth.
expensive. It's actually the opposite. It's a great way to protect your investment in your home. It's a great way
That's
to put money in your pocket.
You know what nobody ever thinks about? That they're paying the utility forever, in perpetuity, right? Essentially, you're agreeing to pay for something for the rest of your life. And guess what? You don't know what the rate of what you're paying for is going to be. They can raise it as much as they want. Really, what solar is doing is allowing you to lock in and know what your expense is going to be. And I think that that's very valuable.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's see here if we got any more of these questions
Let me
here.
do a little flip side of that myth. Look out for the extremely low cost solar installer. Okay, just because this is a financial investment doesn't mean you should go with the cheapest option out there. That's often a way to get burned. You really do want to have a solar installer who offers an operations and maintenance package that will go along with your solar array so that you know it will be operated and maintained over its lifetime, or at least a certain number of years. And you want to have an installer who has high quality and will be around, because we deal with a lot of folks who went with the cheapest installer. They went out of business, their solar array isn't working, and now they have to pay for service, unexpected fees, and it costs them a lot more than it would have if they had gone with a quality installer to begin with.
Shout out to our service and maintenance team, though. They're taking care of people that were left in pretty bad situations. Their installer disappeared. They left them high and dry. They couldn't take advantage of any of the promises that were made to them. And then we're there to save the day, get the systems up and running, get them operating appropriately, saving energy again. So I
Yeah.
know that's hard work, dealing with people that feel like they've been taken advantage of. Not our doing, but, we still got to be empathetic to them. And,
Yep, absolutely. And maybe that's our rapid shutdown for this week. We need to shut down these fast and loose solar installation companies that come and go.
Amen.
That-
Yeah.
It's just bad for the industry. It really is. And you know what? A lot of them are the same folks who are running those ads about government giving you free solar panels.
Right.
Another 2-for-1 myth there.
If it's too good to be true, it
It is.
probably is.
It is.
And that's a myth that's true.
True.
This has been a good episode. We should maybe some of our listeners could write in questions.
Oh,
We
that's
should
a great idea.
we should put a poll on our social pages. Try to have listeners write in some questions, and we'll do another one of these episodes every once in a while.
That sounds great. Well, Jared, it's been great busting myths with you. There's so many of them in the solar industry. Maybe we'll do another episode at some point about some other.
Yeah, I think next time Bill's going to have to get one of those MythBusters from that Discovery show on with us,
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, thanks so much, everyone, for joining us for another episode of Yo, Son. I've been your host, Micah
Peace.
Goldmarkel, here with my man,
Jared Pashko. Take
Peace,
it easy, y'all.
everybody.